Today we're going to talk about something. Oh no, sorry. This topic is hilarious. If you've been on Twitter lately, I wouldn't recommend it. I really wouldn't. I remade my account so no one would steal my username. It was available to anyone, so I grabbed it. That's how I got caught up again. Not like before, but I'm back. And so I blocked a bunch of people because I was just fed up with them. And I just want, only the good and nice stuff. That's it. But the thing is, if you've been on Twitter at any point, you'll see there's like a revolution of idiots. Lots of anti-feminism, lots of... Man, people just love to be a pain in the ass, seriously. They just love to be a pain. And then there's the simping and the incels and the kingdom of these little idiots selling you courses. The other day, I think it was Johnny TV who made a video or two about it. I watched them. I think that's what the channel is called, Johnny TV. Anyway, I'll put it up on the screen. This whole thing with these young idiots selling you courses and telling you, I make $20,000 a month, or it's spreading like a virus. Oh, and there was this one guy who made a really good video. There are a bunch of them now, all claiming they're getting richer and richer. Like last year, he said he made, I don't know how much. No, I made $2 billion, or 12, I don't know, because it's always more than 10. 1 million isn't enough anymore. It's always more than $10 million. They've started going to such a ridiculous scale that you're like, and then they try to sell you their course, you know? Well, all this started a long time ago. It's like a whole crowd of people just lying. They don't make that kind of money, man. Forget it. If they really made that much money, they wouldn't be making those videos. I'm just telling you straight up, but let me put it this way. They don't even make anything close to that amount of money. All of this has led to us having a really funny story today about what all these things do to men already. Older guys, you can tell they're looking for, I don't really know what they're looking for. Honestly, I'd recommend a psychologist, but I'm not sure. Let's try to figure it out together. The thing is, all of this comes from, or rather takes advantage of, people's weaknesses, because everyone has weaknesses, but these guys are really focused on this whole masculinity thing, you know? They turn the whole movement into this thing about wanting to create men, real macho, masculine men. What does that even mean? No idea. I guess it means drinking beer, working out, and chopping wood. My boyfriend already does all that, and he doesn't act like that. But anyway, it's not a big deal. Out of all this came the Project Modern Day Night, okay? And that's what we're going to talk about today. That's why you shouldn't fall for scams like being your own boss, cryptocurrency, anti-feminism, all that weird stuff, you know? All those individual things, you can kind of do them. Not the anti-feminism, I think that's just stupid. But the cryptocurrency stuff and being your own boss, you can do those things, just not like that. You can tell that what started to show up was this lack of belonging. I'd say it's more about a lack of belonging. Like, they want to be part of a group, they want to be strong, they want to be the providers at home, and they bought into all these lies from Andrew Tate and the others and said, I want to be like that too. And that's how all this started, instead of, just going with the flow. Instead of going to therapy and dealing with their problems, they said, no, let's listen to some random dude on the internet. They invented something like a therapy, but it's not therapy, it's a macho therapy. You know, like when they make perfumes blue, or suddenly razors are blue and black, and it's not a purse, it's a men's satchel, like that. As if everything has to be for men. Well, therapy for men, but it's not really therapy, it's something else, something completely different. I'm going to show you a video. A video? Have you seen this? You know when you want a muscular guy to yell at you so you can become more of a man? That's it. That's what this project is about. Let's get a little more specific. What you're seeing is the result. One of the exercises, I'd say, of this camp, okay? It's like a camp. Yes, that's what they call it. 3 days for men to learn how to change their focus, or flip the switch, as they say. And on their website, they make it very clear that this camp is only for entrepreneurs, executives, and leaders who are ready for a serious breakthrough. Not bad, right? The description sounds okay, right? No, not at all. It would be fine if it really was like that. It says, this exclusive experience is not for anyone who is just starting their personal development journey. This experience goes deep for men who are seriously ready and tired of making excuses. All of this is a quote from the website. It's right there. Basically, it's for those men who want to be more manly. But it has that vibe. It has that kind of text, that prose of being your own boss and cryptocurrencies and all the scams you see nowadays. Which, again, you can do individually, but the way it's being sold now, it is all essentially just a scam. So, this would be the Modern Day Night Project, a reinvention of what it means to be masculine in this modern day and age. So, again, according to them, it's a program and experience of self development, 75 hours that are physically challenging and mentally enlightening, designed to help you overcome limiting beliefs, gain clarity at work, and help you improve your mindset, finances, and sense of purpose in life and business. Again, honestly, it sounds pretty good. I mean, you're like, wow, a self help boot camp. But, like, what are the credentials? Like, I need more info, you know? It's like, you need more information. The website also says that those who complete this 75-hour project will join a lifelong brotherhood of high performers who connect, network, and support each other weekly in a private online group and also meet in person twice a year at exclusive gatherings for this project. The founder of MDK, the OG bro, the ultimate Chad, and the instructor who leads this experience is Bedros Kouilian. Now, here's where we get to the fun and interesting part because this creator is amazing. He describes himself. I mean, every reference you find about him online is written by him, and it's super obvious. And on the website, this person is described as follows: as an American entrepreneur, which isn't a lie, and a believer in the American dream. He and his family, and this is the story he told, okay? And everything you're about to hear now is pretty much what he says about himself. So he says that he and his family are immigrants who escaped communism and came to the United States in search of freedom, opportunity, and a better life. I'm going to move a little faster to keep things moving. Currently, Bedros is a serial entrepreneur and investor in more than a dozen leading brands and businesses in the industry. Keep that in mind. He says he's the founder of Fit Body Bootcamp, which is true. He really is the founder. It's been featured 3 times in Inc. magazine, as well as on Entrepreneur magazine's list of the 100 fastest growing franchise brands in the world. Bedros is also the author of a Wall Street best-selling book, Journal, Man Up, How to Stop Making Excuses and Dominate in Business and in Life. Now, I want you to know that I looked this up because I thought, wow, the bestseller, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I don't know how to search, which is weird because I'm pretty good at searching, or what's going on. But I couldn't find anything about it being the best-selling book. In fact, almost nobody talks about it. And on top of all that, when you look for the description in the Wall Street Journal thing, the only text that comes up is the one that's on the website. So it's like, no. This particular individual just dictated that, and the few news outlets that covered the topic accepted it as absolute gospel truth. Like, of course. It also says that Bedros believes in the power of the human spirit and frequently utilizes various platforms like television, social media, his podcast, and his blog to share his story as an immigrant who achieved the American dream to help inspire audiences around the world to break free and reach their full potential. Well, that is pretty much all there is to it. Basically, he's in that whole inspirational thing, you know? And yeah, he's making a ton of money off people. Because here's the thing about all this. Some parts are actually true, okay? For example, that boot camp I mentioned earlier that he was the creator of, yeah, that's technically true. He had a business that I think was successful. That's not a lie. So was the book really a bestseller? No idea. On Amazon, honestly, it doesn't have any kind of bestseller sticker. And in general, if you search for Wall Street Journal and Man Up, you only find that description he gave. So it's questionable. I don't know. And there's something else I don't like about all this, about his description, and it's that he proclaims himself as the hidden genius behind the success of big companies, but he never says which ones, and I couldn't really find out. Which companies did he run? Unless he's always referring to the boot camp he did. Sure, he was successful, but it's not like the massive success of many companies. There aren't many testimonials about it, but this boot camp serves as a reference to help us understand his work and how we got here. Just so you get an idea, it's basically a gym franchise. That's what it is. A place where they created a program that does 30-minute CrossFit-style workouts. Personalized with demanding trainers. I actually like those places. Honestly, it's not like he created a brand new concept, but he did build the brand, and then several locations opened up doing the same thing. Obviously, what you see here, what he did first, inspired him to create the modern day night, okay? That's for sure. Because it's pretty much the same thing, but taking advantage of these people's uselessness. Why? Let's start with a little reminder. Some of you who are online might know about this, and others maybe not. We're going to talk about the Haunted Mansion. Just so you get an idea, if you remember, there was a super famous haunted mansion at one point called the, I don't know how to pronounce it, Makini? I think it was something like that. Makini Manor? I forget its name. What's the deal? This mansion became famous not because of how good the scares were, like any other haunted house, but because of the torture, okay? For torturing people. People would voluntarily go there to subject themselves to this because there was some kind of prize. At the end, if you actually manage to get through all the torture, there's a whole crazy lore behind this. It actually ended up being a dungeon to satisfy the torture fantasies of its creator. There's really no other explanation. And in fact, there's a guy who tried to expose the whole story and just how messed up the owner of this mansion is, and everything that happened behind the scenes. Because in part, it was also a scam. There was a lot of acting involved to get people to go. So there's someone who made a video about it and revealed a lot of hidden things that hadn't come to light until now. But it really reminds me of that because of the the clear scam going on and how people go along with this kind of stuff. Because something very similar happened here, which is basically people's desire to be tortured by someone else, a stranger, just because there's something behind it that might be worth it. In that case, it was about winning money, which, well, okay, that's not so bad, because obviously a lot of people need money, and it was a good amount. Still, I think the prize at Makini Manor, I'm just saying anything here, Makini Manor or that haunted mansion was like $20,000. Okay, so at least they're giving you money for being there. But this is the complete opposite. Here, they yell at you, make you get up early. It's torture. Constant exercise. It's hours of intense activity where they put you through emotional and physical stress. And the problem here is that there's no prize at the end. The prize at the end is that you come out a real man, a proper man, and that's it. You suffered, and now you have this new tool to guide you and to be the man your family needs. That's the kind of mindset we're talking about, okay? But it's not free. It used to cost $15,000 and now it's $18,000. $18,000 for a guy to yell in your face for 75 hours? Okay? And I love it because it has this whole concept of you need to do it because you're a sad dude and you need to do this to become the ultimate alpha, okay? So you pay $18,000 and they tell you, like on the website, they warn you that the cost of not experiencing this, of not doing it, of not taking on the project and not becoming the leader, husband, and brother you're supposed to be is much more expensive in the long run. Like right now, you just put down the cash, $18,000, and that's it. Like from now on, you're gonna be the boss, everything's gonna be super clear for you, like you're really gonna have it all figured out, okay? Awesome. Now it also says, just a heads up, here they make a little side note. It's worth clarifying that the 75 hours include both the time spent training and the time spent learning, eating, and sleeping, which will be kept to a minimum. They also clarify that you don't need to be an athlete or know anything special to sign up for this project. You just need to be physically fit enough to go on hikes, crawl, carry logs, drag. Sorry, it's just we're tough guys here, we're tough guys. Here, it's all about strength. Wow. Does it include pulling a Hilux with your chief? Like towing a pickup truck? It includes 4x4s. Never learned a bit of cooking. Why? What good is that to you anyway? It's like CrossFit, but even more intense. What good does it do? Because it says carrying logs, pulling trucks, jogging, doing push-ups, and a variety of bodyweight exercises. This is also the problem, which is that you do that camp and it's not like you're gonna come out ripped. Suddenly it's fine. It's like going to a men's club. Maybe you can get together with your friends and have the same experience, like a weekend where you do things that are considered manly and maybe you feel a little better. I don't know why you need that instead of going to a therapist and asking yourself why you need it, but whatever. Like, you can do it in your hometown and it won't cost you $18,000. And besides, in 3 days, what good does it really do you? I mean, I really want to understand what benefit you get from the mental and physical exhaustion in terms of growth, because you're not going to come out of there with muscles. You're going to come tired with muscles that might look a little more defined, but only because they're super strained and super worn out. And you're going to be wrecked, $18,000 poorer, and you won't even see, like, what will you have learned? Well, you'll learn that you got scammed, and maybe next time you won't fall for it. Now, to be fair, they do warn you from the start that it's a physically and emotionally exhausting experience, because they also yell at you, tell you you're useless, like, why aren't you doing this? Like, let's see if you can man up, I don't know, blah blah blah, and so on. Just like you saw in the video. But they also claim that this exhaustion is necessary in order to grow in those areas. Okay. So, just so you know, if at any point you're considering this, the team from this channel wants to let you know that you can achieve that kind of growth without these methods, alright? And if someone watching this happens to live a more traditional lifestyle, more God, country, family, you can do it without being an idiot and without spending $18,000. And with that money, you could build yourself a really nice pool. Priorities. Seriously, 2 rooms. With $18,000, you could build 2 bedrooms, save for land, or even make a down payment on a mortgage. You can do a ton with 18 grand. You might even have money left for therapy. And it doesn't matter if the therapist is male or female. What surprises me is that people actually did this. They said, I'm gonna do it. I'll become a man. I want to know what they're doing now, after finishing those 75 hours. They grew beards and started wearing plaid vests, lost a tooth. Like, just to balance things out a bit, I don't get it. Go live in Alaska or something, I don't get it. I love it because then the guy keeps talking. According to statements from the creator of the program I was telling you about, quote, because it's really amazing, he says that men are secretly fighting a battle within themselves that nobody knows about. I know this because I used to be one of them. You're suffering in silence and pushing through life and business. Some days you can barely keep it together, but it doesn't have to be that way. You could go see a therapist. If you can flip this switch, you'll have the breakthrough you've been looking for, and only then will you be able to overcome the self-sabotaging behavior that's destroying your relationship and your business. When you flip the switch, you'll overcome addictions, limiting beliefs, and glass ceilings, so you can become the husband, father, and man you respect and admire. Basically, the entire MDK program is designed around the life and experience of this guy Bedros, so that, just like him, men can find direction in their lives, help their families and communities, but above all, help themselves. I mean, that's the premise, and again, put like that, it doesn't sound bad, you know what I mean? It doesn't sound bad, it's like, oh well, but this one is made for... So things go better for them, so their lives are good, so they're doing well emotionally, you know? The problem is that basically the path it proposes is 3 straight days of verbal, physical, and mental abuse, which also costs $18,000. I mean, you feel like an idiot after that. Do you guys want to know what I think is really going on? Which is that, like, you come out of the program and you really feel like an idiot. I don't know if, because if they gave you a good experience, you'd be like, okay, yeah, I came out of here a lot more experienced, a lot better. First of all, it wouldn't be a course, like a 3-day camp, but rather a complete experience over a longer period of time, and it would have a lot of support in different areas. Like, no, this doesn't teach you anything. It's paying to go through a trauma that leads you to that personal growth. It's like you didn't get, let's say these new generations don't do that thing of hitting their kids with belts anymore, or at least I hope they're not doing it, or torturing them, physically and mentally abusing their kids, so they grew up like that. There must be a whole generation of men who grew up more sheltered, so to speak, and now they're like, hey, where's my trauma? I can't be a man without my trauma. And that's when Beth Rosa comes in and says, well, don't worry, I've got you. I'll give you your trauma. So it's like these people are constantly blaming the world around them for their failures instead of saying, hey, obviously something's going on with me. I need help, and I'm going to look for that help. And then we can talk and see what's up. It's like what's supposed to happen just isn't happening. And so they go and look for something in this muscular guy. They're looking for something. I mean, can you imagine, like, at family gatherings, they're mad at their dad because he didn't hit them enough. Like, you don't understand me. It's not a phase. Why didn't you hit me more when I was a kid? Like, that's how I picture them. Like, they're blaming their families for not having grown up to be their own bosses. That's how I see them. That's how it is. Basically, they're buying traumas. They're buying those experiences they never had and now need because they don't even know how to cut a piece of wood. I assume it has to do with their expectations about what it means to be a man and that they're not living up to them, either what they believe or what they were told they had to believe. And now they're like, well, for $18,000, you give me my manhood. Thanks. The whole program, everything I described to you, is designed that way from the very beginning, from the very first step. It's designed to manipulate these people into believing that this is the only viable path to improvement. Now, personally, I don't think the creator of all this really believes this is going to fix anything. It seems to me he saw an opportunity and he's taken it, and it's working for him. They play on the belief that they're going to be able to improve every aspect of their lives. Even I love it because the website is very masculine. There are no colors, just black and red. We're really macho here. You can be one too. And there's a giant red button right in the middle that screams, I'm ready, like, subscribe here. Here, pay me here. Boom, big red button in the middle, awesome. Well, it's designed to make you say, this is my chance. I mean, there are a lot of people who say this is either a pyramid scheme, at some point it kind of turns into a pyramid scheme, or it's basically some kind of alpha male cult. And the thing is, it's really set up like a cult. It's set up like a sect, okay? First, they manipulate you in a negative way to create problems for you that only they can solve, okay? Because actually, if you go to the app, that's kind of the whole point of all this. That's where you are. These guys might have just been online one day and suddenly an ad for this popped up. Maybe they didn't even have that problem. But with these dudes telling you, like, it's all super fake from the start. Everything that's happening online right now is obvious from a mile away. But someone who might not be in their best moment sees, for example, these guys supposedly making millions of dollars selling little courses at age 20, and all these men with their perfect families being the providers and all that. And they think, damn, I should be like that. I should act like that. But in reality, a lot of that stuff is fake, but nobody tells them, and they fall for it. So maybe they didn't even have that need, and these ads about these things create, a need they didn't have, and the solution. Because besides, it even says on the same page, like they're telling you themselves that once you finish the course, you'll be part of this brotherhood for life. So that's really what puts the finishing touch on all this. It's the cherry on top. It's what was missing. And actually, according to John Jalowich, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, a sociologist at California State University and an expert on cults, a cult forms when 4 factors are met, okay? First, you need to have a charismatic leader, which is the foundation of everything. Without a leader, there's no cult, right? That's just an example. And their charisma and way of reading people are actually forms of manipulation. A central figure who is attractive enough and effectively manipulative is the first step, the foundation of all this. And in this case, we have this gym bro, Beldros, who might not seem charismatic to many, but for men with fragile masculinity who feel like they need what he has, he's the perfect example. He represents everything they want to be. The muscular provider, the company boss, the guy who helps out behind the scenes. The dude who's done a lot of things and even wrote a book. Writing a book isn't that hard if you're just making a fake self-help book. You're not creating anything new. I mean, you're not really thinking about anything. Most of these books say the same thing anyway. But anyway, he tells you he wrote a book that was a bestseller, that it's a bestseller, that it's the best book, the one that sold the most, and that it showed up in a bunch of magazines, which might be true, but it doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't guarantee you any success at all. Then you need to have a transcendent belief system, basically laying out how you're going to get to a better place. Here, that system is the project itself. According to Leach, to be part of the group, you have to go through a transformation process that they dictate, and there's no other way to be there. It's exclusive. That's the indoctrination program. The third step is the control system. In other words, it's the process by which the person who joins the cult gets drawn deeper and deeper in, changing their behaviors, actions, thoughts, ideas, ideology, and their way of seeing things, the world. And finally, there's peer pressure, right? Peer pressure is basically the influence of other people who have already gone through that process. Or maybe they haven't and they're just pretending, but let's say they have, and they give you advice on how to keep going. The truth is, it's almost imperceptible to the person who's in that situation, so caught up in the whole process. But those who give advice and are with the newcomer use this as an excuse to pressure them. These people become your only point of reference for everything in life, since all your hopes of becoming a better person, changing, growing, turning into someone better, or finding happiness end up being consolidated with them. Only on one path to follow, the path of the cult, and they guide you through it. When we say cults, probably a lot of things come to mind that are actually related because most of the time, generally speaking, the foundations of cults tend to be religious, right? So maybe you picture yourself following the doctrine of some god or something like that. But here, what the MDK aims to solve is to address the existential crisis and answer the question of what masculinity is, now that femininity and the role of women in society is no longer one of inferiority, but rather, let's say, hopefully, equality. Obviously, there's a group that doesn't want to be equal to us, who want to fulfill a different kind of role. I guess if we look at the psychology of it, I assume it's because they want to feel important. That's also why they desperately try to cling to this idea of traditional masculinity. Or maybe it's just a crisis of masculinity itself, because it was always defined by what it wasn't. That's interesting and kind of funny for someone looking at it from the outside, because, no one in their right mind would spend $18,000 just to be tortured for a while and end up with new traumas. It doesn't make any sense at all. Especially, just imagine if it's a man. Let's say he's around 40 years old, trying to reaffirm himself, and I don't know, he's already married, has kids, and maybe he wants his son to see him in a more masculine way, more like the traditional father figure, the head of the family, etc. And he says, well, I want to be like that, so he pays for the course. Dude, if I had a husband who spent $18,000 on something like that, let's see, how can I put this very simply? Divorce would be the least of it. Don't come near me. What are you doing? Do you know what kind of vacation you can have with $18,000? And what I'm wondering here is, did something in particular go wrong? Maybe, just looking at this from a distance, did they fail to get into the military? Or something like that. Why would you want to be like this? Because if you wanted discipline, strength training, and perhaps even gain some valuable knowledge, you could just join the military, carry yourself with a tough attitude, and actually earn a steady paycheck instead of losing your money. Or maybe it's just too demanding. It's like, people who want the easy diet. Like, I'll take these pills for 3 days and lose 60 pounds. That's what the ad promises me. They're the same way. Like, oh, they told me I'd become a man in 3 days. Anything else is just too much work. I don't know. Besides, Americans are really into joining the military. Like, you can just sign up and you get, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Maybe it's like I'm desperate, but not that desperate. The conclusion is that there is no conclusion. And honestly, I want you to tell me, would you ever spend $18,000 on something like this? What would happen if there was like a women's camp? Because obviously, behind all this God, country, and family stuff with these people, there's a woman, right? Who wants the same thing. And asking myself if I would pay $15,000 to $18,000 if someone of my gender would pay that to learn how to do traditional women's things, I don't know. I'd totally judge them. It's like, I don't want to judge people, but honestly, they're not giving me much of a choice. You know what I mean? I don't wake up wanting to go around judging people all day. I don't like that. In real life, when someone tells me some gossip, I'm like, haha, but also, come on. No, I don't like judging or giving strong opinions because I don't understand what goes on in other people's minds. I just don't like it. I don't want to, but they aren't giving me other options. If a friend, not that I know people like that, has a crisis later and says, no, I'm not masculine enough, I need to do this, they need a slap. Dude, shut up. What are you even saying? What are you even saying? Let's go camping. Let's camp around here. To an area where there are pumas? Are there still pumas in Argentina? Enough? I don't know. We rent a truck, you get stuck in the mud, so we rent 2 trucks. That way you can rescue it. We get 1 truck stuck in the mud and tow it out with the other truck. Would that make you feel more masculine? I need firewood. Look, winter's coming up, so if anyone watching this needs to feel a bit more masculine, you gotta chop wood. Come over to my place. Thanks. Chop wood. I don't know, it's a scam, and this guy who leads it knows exactly what he's doing and knows there are people he can take advantage of. He looks them in the face and tells them they're stupid, and he's not lying. He said that about Hillary. No, sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at people's misfortunes, but they're kind of asking for it too. But come on, friends, get it together. I don't know. That's how it ended up. I'm gonna use this makeup. No, but I'm making a lot of progress with this little thing. I used it again. This one's from A2, I think. It's for using pigments and turning them into liquid, gel. In this case, I used it to line my eyes a bit. It was a little tricky to handle gel versus powder, but I finally got it. It has to be more gel than powder for it to look better. Obviously, my line is a mess. My hand, I don't know how steady my hand really is. Apparently, that's no excuse. I'm just bad at doing eyeliner. Don't look at it too closely, just leave it. Well, tell me what you want to see in the next one. I got a bunch of messages about a nun. Something about a nun. Maybe I'll do it in the next video. She's from Chile. It's about two nuns. One of them was supposedly found dismembered. They trashed it in the Ñuñoa district. Argentinians pronounce... No, that's a lie. Not all of them. People from Buenos Aires pronounce the E and I differently than the rest of me. They keep telling me, but I can't see it. I don't know what the difference is. I literally don't know, and I feel like I'll never see it. Not a single line. There is no difference. Honestly, they just use it as an excuse to say we're different. But in that district, it's recent. That's why I say I don't know if I'll do it. And, well, that's it. It was her friend who left her in the trash. Leave another nun. I mean, what's interesting here is that they were nuns. Maybe I'll make the video. I'm gonna set that as a goal. I'm gonna finish a video now, and I'm gonna set it as a challenge for myself. So I'm gonna set myself a goal every now and then. I wanna do something more current from time to time. I love it because then there's... Sometimes I use Magnus as an example, who suddenly earned the title of the fastest. This guy is the fastest one. Dude, any topic that comes up, he takes it, writes the script, records, and edits it all in the same day, you know? Like saying, that's it, done. And I think that's how it was anyway. He's not going to see this video, so he can't correct me. But, well, if he wants to correct me, I think that's also how the day that thing started. Like, someone would die and he'd make a video about it. And so, well, that's kind of how it went. I used to be able to do it before, and now it's like, since I burned out, I don't want to do it again, and my mind gets distracted by anything. I'm gonna try. Now I'm gonna do the one about the nuns, not for this channel, because for this channel it would take longer. But like, for the main channel, I'm gonna write everything down after I finish working now, just for fun, and I'll publish it, but as a personal challenge. And you all will be able to see if I did it or not, because in this video, I already said I'm gonna do it. Alright, that's it for now, so let me know what else you want to see, okay? Besides Killer Nuns, what a great video title, and I'm out of here. Because I haven't eaten. And what time is it? It's almost 1 in the afternoon already. Alright, I'm leaving. Kisses to the family. See ya, and send me pictures of your pets. Send me pictures of your pets on Instagram. That's right. And if you have pets watching my videos, I always love that. I love it. I open Instagram and tell myself, babies too. Sometimes you see, oh man. I just saw a video on Twitter of a baby who is crying and suddenly the CSI intro starts playing. And he calms down. The kid just stares. Well, see you in another video. Bye, kisses, ciao ciao.